Hey guys, it's the Insane Machine Cody Hawkins, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZenFixTV. I'm Billy Boudreaux, and this is going to be my Impact Wrestling review for the week of September 6, 2012. We open up with a Bound for Glory series match between Jeff Hardy and Samoa Joe. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty of it, folks. You know, got the Bound for Glory series semifinals and the finals coming up this Sunday. I'm going to be talking about that probably on Saturday for a predictions video. But before we can do that, we got to talk about what sets up the semifinals, which was on Impact Wrestling the previous night. We open up with Jeff Hardy and Samoa Joe. Great match between these two guys. The fans were like subtly behind Jeff Hardy in the match, even though Samoa Joe isn't quite technically a heel. You know, he's what was termed as a hard face in the wrestling industry. But it was still a great match between these two guys. A lot of great spots. I thought it was a phenomenal opening to this match. At one point, let me talk about this spot a little bit. At one point, it was Jeff Hardy. He did the Whisper in the Wind, and it looked like he missed. But Samoa Joe started selling the fact that it didn't miss and that it hit him in the arm. And then Jeff Hardy puts him in a submission hold. Yeah, Jeff Hardy did a submission hold. Yeah, believe it or not. And it was kind of like an inverted crossface, a crippler crossface, for those of you familiar with it. And instead of being on his stomach, he had Samoa Joe on his back. He had a leg grapevine, and he was kind of like a reverse choke almost, in a sense. And you know, it was just think Anaconda Vice, but instead of holding the arm in a key lock position, he was holding his arm in between the legs. You know, he had his arm completely stretched out. That's basically what it was. And Samoa Joe tapped out, so Jeff Hardy gets the win. Great match between these two guys. I thought it was a great opening for Impact Wrestling this week. I'm going to go 4 out of 5. And then we had a situation that took place backstage that happened between Tara and Gail Kim. They were literally chest to chest, and I would pay good money for that. And it turns into a knockouts match between Tara and Gail Kim. And I'll say it before, and I'll say it again. The TNA knockouts, much better in the ring than the WWE Divas. The TNA knockouts know how to put on a wrestling match. The Divas, yeah, they're eye candy, but that's about it. They can't wrestle. Well, there are some with some ability, some in-ring talent. Not a lot, though. And that kind of speaks to the Divas division in the WWE. The Knockouts division, much more entertaining to watch because they know how to put on good matches. And Tara and Gail Kim was a really good match. They also kind of selling the fact that this Sunday at No Surrender, Tara's going to be taking on Miss Tessmacher for the Knockouts title. That should indeed be a good match, but I will talk about that when I get a chance to do my predictions video. But you know, if you're going to have your number one contender in a match, you have to have your number one contender go over, and that's what happened. Tara went over on Gail Kim, but it was still a really good match. 4 out of 5. Can't say nothing bad about it. Then next up was a segment I kind of felt was coming on. You know, they had to go it this way, and it's a segment that involved Al Snow calling out Joey Ryan. Yeah, for a person who's technically or Sting calls it keyfabbed, doesn't have a contract with TNA. TNA put it together a little video vignette of Joey Ryan's antics ever since Gut Check. And basically, what this setup was, it was for No Surrender, we're going to have a Joey Ryan versus Al Snow match. And if Joey Ryan beats Al Snow, Joey Ryan gets the contract. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to voice my opinion on the matter on a different video, on a predictions video. I know I'm saying a lot about my predictions video, but you know, I just got so much to say about Joey Ryan and Al Snow that I'm going to save it for that video. But the segment, well, let me say this. At first, Joey Ryan looked like he was coming off as a little bit of a hard face from Gut Check, but now, last night on Impact, he was like full-on heel because the crowd was just booing the crap out of him. And I guess that's probably the position they wanted Joey Ryan to have, for him to take in this little storyline, this little angle with him and Al Snow, is for him to be the heel. Other than that, the only thing I can say is I give it a 3.5 out of 5. And I'll talk more about it on my predictions video. Next up, we had Bully Ray and RVD. Wow, this was an amazing match. This should have been main event. This should have been a main event match because that's how good it was. Bully Ray and RVD put on a phenomenal match. A phenomenal match. It was great. The 5-star frog splash was countered into the bully cutter, the Bubba cutter. So basically, Randy Orton, eat your heart out. I mean, you can counter a shooting star press into an RKO. Bully Ray can counter a 5-star frog splash into a Bubba cutter. And that was a spectacular finish. Of course, it means now RVD is out of the Bound for Glory series. But this was a phenomenal finish. You know, TNA should have built this up as the main event because it was that good. 4.5 out of 5. Something I need to make mention of is the fact that even after Samoa Joe's match and RVD's match, Magnus came out, and both times he went off on both Joe and RVD, kind of making a heel turn back to being a heel. Excuse me. And he and RVD started going at it. So you might be seeing a match, if not this Sunday at the pay-per-view, between RVD and Magnus, or Samoa Joe and Magnus, but possibly next week on Impact. It's just possible, just speculating on what could happen. Then during the night, Austin Aries had this guy, Mike from New York, who's apparently with the Aces and Eights. He got him picked up, and he was trying to question him for information about the Aces and Eights. And Hulk Hogan came in looking like he was going to stop him, and then he just starts smacking the taste out of his mouth. And then he gets a call from the Aces and Eights, and they want to make a trade, but Austin Aries wants the guy who tried to break his arm. And spoiler, Luke Gallows. And it's basically the way it went. And he's going to get the guy, again, at No Surrender in a non-title match. So, or non-title fight, as Austin Aries was putting it. Next up, we have Cowboy James Storm. I'm going to give the segment a 4 out of 5. I thought it was entertaining. And poor Mike from New York is just getting slapped around worse than Tiffany slapping around, Taryn Terrell slapping around Drew McIntyre. I hate to say that, but... Or maybe I can go Ric Flair's wife slapping him around. Next up, we had Cowboy James Storm. With him being in the number 1 position, he had his pick of who he wanted to face in the semifinals at No Surrender. He could have chose between Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, or Bully Ray. And he ends up choosing Bully Ray because Bully Ray has been the one who's been, key fab, been calling him out, saying that he was the leader of the Aces and Eights and he was wrong, and he wanted to prove it to him in the ring. He wanted a one-on-one match with him, and so he chose him. So in semifinals has been set up for this Sunday. It's James Storm and Bully Ray, and the other match is Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy. So really looking forward to what they're going to be doing in the semifinals of the Bound for Glory series. Great segment, by the way, with Storm, Bully Ray, Joe, and Jeff Hardy. 4 out of 5. Impact this week was really, really good. And to cap it off, we had throughout the night we had tag team titles, tag teams being eliminated because the main event was for the tag team titles. Daniels and Kazarian taking on Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez. Great match. I thought it was phenomenal. Amazing match between these two guys. I'll tell you what, I would not have been amiss if they would have put the titles on Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez. But thinking about this, that Daniels and Kazarian are going to having a future encounter with AJ Styles and a partner of his choosing, our partner yet to be named, then it kind of would make sense to keep the titles on Daniels and Kazarian just for the feud's sake. Now, I don't think they would really needed the tag team titles for this segment, for the involving them and AJ, but it kind of makes it a little bit better. It kind of makes it a little bit better. But it kind of makes something on the line here rather than just pride. So Daniels Kazarian end up getting the win when Daniels, behind the referee's back, hits Hernandez with the title belt, and they get the win. And then we get the announcement from Hulk Hogan that at No Surrender, it's going to be Daniels and Kazarian defending the titles against AJ and Kurt Angle. So that should be really interesting since they're probably going to rehash this whole thing all over again. Far as this match goes, great match, 4 out of 5 on this one, and then we end up with the big old switch between Aces and Eights and TNA. Austin Aries starts fighting with this big guy, Luke Gallows. Who, by the way, before Mike could spill it, Mike was going to spill the beans. Mike from New York, he was getting slapped around. He said he was going to spill the beans, but then Luke Gallows pulled him out of the ring, had a ball-peen hammer in his hand, or what looked like to be a ball-peen hammer, and cocked Mike over the head, basically telling him, "Hey, yo, it's hammer time." So then Austin Aries launches himself at the guy, and next you know, the fight is on, and apparently the fight will continue at Sunday's No Surrender. My overall score in Impact Wrestling this week, I got to go 4.5 out of 5. It was a phenomenal show leading up into No Surrender. Great match with Hardy and Samoa Joe. Tara and Gail Kim, great match. Joey Ryan and El Snow, I'm still on the fence about. Phenomenal match between Bully Ray and RVD. Again, that should have been a main event. Great segment with James Storm, Bully Ray, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy leading up to their semifinals at No Surrender. Great tag match with Daniels, Kazarian, Chavo Guerrero, and Hernandez. And, of course, now we got the big fight, Austin Aries against Luke Gallows. I hate to keep saying it, but it's Luke Gallows because just from his body movements, it looks exactly like him. So I'm going to call him Luke Gallows until I'm told otherwise. So apparently that's going to be the big fight, non-title fight at No Surrender. So what I want to know now from you guys is your thoughts on Impact Wrestling this week. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask me, be sure you put those in too. Don't forget to subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network. And don't forget to check out my buddy DJ Yoles on youtube.com/TheFinalTapout and my buddy Revamped Wrestling on youtube.com/RevampedWrestlingHD. So with that being said, I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux saying thank you very much for watching.